future for when God comes after the destruction of the Antichrist system. Now, another point we need to also remember, this is one of the things we need to keep in mind as well, is that all these kingdoms, whether it be Rome, Greece, Babylon, they're all rooted in spirituality, our religious belief system. And today, it's pretty much like that in this day and age, even though it seems like as if we live in an almost atheistic, scientific society. At the root of it all, you'll find that all these people in government and that are always, they're usually linked with some kind of religion or a secret society. Like, for example, Gary Carr, I went to one of his seminars in the Health Christian Center, and he was an ex-politician, and he says that religion controls politics. So things to do with laws and things like that, it eventually has religious roots to it. And of course, the majority of the US governments were also Freemasons, and you would have George Bush, and as well as his father, were part of a secret society of skull and bones. I've seen evidence of that, and you always find that in politics and all these government areas is that they're always rooted in religion. Some of these government buildings will sometimes have these pagan icons, or sometimes you go around Dundee and you'll see certain architecture of gods and goddesses maybe, or something like that. You'll find them in certain towns. For example, in New York, there's a good one, the Statue of Liberty. That's actually the goddess Libertas, of the Roman goddess, as you can see just there. And there's other research as well, that the head of that statue also is actually meant to be like a man's head. There was another man who did some research on this, I forgot his name, but he actually said it's actually the head of the god Apollo. And of course, it kind of makes sense. I can see where the rays are from the sun god Apollo of the Romans as well. So that was another research that just came in my head there. But I can leave links if anybody was interested. About that. I can't remember. Do you remember his name? The man that talked about the head of Apollo on the. It doesn't completely look like a woman's face, does it? When you look at it.
I'm not remembering him.
Nah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's quite a while ago now. So anyway, we're just going to continue on with this. So then, as we look at Daniel 2, we will be looking to see what has happened in our past and what is happening in our present time, and what will happen in the future concerning end times, and in particular the Antichrist, and we'll also be reading on 2 Thessalonians 2 as well, because that will come in very handy later on. But in verses 36 to 46, we'll just read through this again, so we have the image of the statue there. It says here, it speaks of 4 kingdoms, as Daniel's given an interpretation describing using the 4 metals. Firstly, we have the gold head representing Babylon, and then we have the silver chest, which represents the Medo-Persian Empire. The 3rd kingdom is the brass belly and thighs, which represents Greece, and the 4th kingdom is made of iron, which is the Roman Empire. And also, when we looking at Daniel 7,
is that chapter 7?
Yeah, sorry, Daniel chapter 7. There will be 4 beasts in it. I'll talk on these ones as well, and we'll just briefly go into what they are. And the same kingdoms are also mentioned. This is in Daniel's dream. That the winged lion is Babylon. The bear with the ribs in its mouth is symbolic of the Medo-Persian Empire. The leopard with the 4 heads is Greece, and the beast with the 10 horns is Rome. And the 11th horn, the small horn, actually represents the Antichrist connected to this 4th kingdom as well, connected to Rome basically. So anyway, what we will be focusing on is the past, present, and future of this 4th kingdom, but we'll focus on the past just so we can get an idea of what's actually going on here. And also another important point is that even though we've been learning about the Vatican and about these popes, that they've actually got a false gospel, a false form of Christianity, as Martin Luther had pointed out, that there was a lot wrong with the teachings. So, from my research, it's basically a form of that they're mixing the Roman religion started off with Constantine and mixing it in with Christianity, so it becomes like a form of pagan Christianity. You know, so the Vatican is still there, the spiritual roots are still in Rome, and that's why I'm convinced that the Antichrist is still going to come in the future, coming from Rome. Basically, we'll be connected to Rome in some way, but we'll clear this up later. One of the most important points to remember also is that in the Israelite way of thinking, that even though the Roman kingdom, it started off a kingdom and then it became an empire, and they started doing things differently. They started becoming emperors instead of kings, because they wanted to be almost like a people pleasing in a sense, they wanted to please the people, things like entertainment, Colosseum kind of things, and making things a public matter, other than being too much of a dictator like a normal kingdoms would normally do. So, but they still rule like kingdoms. They still rule. They would dictate at times, like the Christian persecution from the Romans, So, and from the Israelite thinking, we need to still interpret that as that it's still a kingdom because it's still behaving like a kingdom, it's still ruling just like kingdoms normally do over the countries that they're ruling. So, and another thing in Daniel 7, the interesting thing in Daniel 7 is that it says that this kingdom, this fourth kingdom, would be diverse from all other kingdoms, which makes sense that it would be diverse from all other kingdoms because they're moving away from behaving like a typical kingdom and moving down to emperor position, so that it's almost like they're bringing themselves almost down to a similar level to the public. So it's almost like for example, our government system, allows us to have votes other than them being purely dictating to what we should do and things like that, where we get to have a say. So the Roman system is pretty much very similar to that, and things like democracy, for example, as well. Also, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to start reading. I'm going to try and teach this as best I can, because it can be very cryptic, to do with this fourth kingdom. This is the legs of iron that we're going to focus on now. And it says here in verse 40 of Daniel 2, and it says here, and the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron breaks in pieces, so iron is symbolic of Rome, and shatters everything, and like iron that crushes, that kingdom will break in pieces and crush all others. Right, so what we're actually learning here, that this type of language here, is that the Roman Empire is described here as a kingdom that will break in pieces and crush all others. So this description here is also seen in other parts of Scripture. It basically means it's symbolic of war and destruction. For example, in Jeremiah 51, verses 20 to 21, and it speaks of the destruction of Babylon by the Medo-Persians. We read here, it says, this is God speaking, you are my battle axe and weapons of war, for with you I will break the nation in pieces. With you I will destroy kingdoms. With you I will break in pieces the horse and its rider. With you I will break in pieces the chariot and its rider. So again, we get to learn a bit about how the Israelites would think back in these ancient times. So basically what we're learning here is that the Roman Empire is an empire that makes war with other countries in order to rule over them. That's what we're learning here. And we're going to continue reading in verses 41. It says here, whereas you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, yet the strength of the iron shall be in it, just as you saw the iron mixed with ceramic clay. Now the ceramic clay, that part there is really to do with the nations that they're ruling over, the Roman Empire, whenever it's being divided. So the fact that happened here is that the Roman Empire did divide by Emperor Diocletian. Yeah, the slide.
And that's the.
Oh,
It's the clay and the
Yeah.
movie behind.
So that's the clay, and that's just the nations that are ruling over. It doesn't include Christianity, because I would some people were thinking that maybe it was talking on that as well, but it can't be, because God is going to come with His kingdom and He's going to destroy the clay. So the clay has to, it wouldn't make sense for them to be killing Christians as well, destroying them. So it has to be the pagan lands that the Roman Empire was ruling over of the countries. And here's just so we have a western side and then we have an eastern side. And so that's what happened there by Emperor Diocletian. And Constantine, very, very important figure to remember as well, is that Emperor Constantine, he ruled mainly in the eastern part, but he eventually started ruling the both halves at some point. I can't remember exactly what the date was. But anyway, now when it says here the strength of the island, right? Because this here was quite a puzzle to me as well. The only thing I could make sense of that was that it would have to mean to do with the two emperors that were needed for both the eastern and for the east and the west, because it would be too much, because the populations were increasing, the prosperity and things like that they actually needed. They couldn't have one emperor ruling from the seat of Rome, so they actually needed to have two emperors to keep it strong, and they also needed two Caesars as well. And that's how I would interpret that. It makes sense, because that's the iron. The two emperors would be the iron to help, just because it was just too much hard work just for one emperor to be doing it. So we're going to continue reading from verses 42, and it says here, "And as the toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken." So again, the partly strong would have to be the two emperors we just mentioned, and the partly broken area here, just like we've been learning the language of breaking pieces, broken. What was going on there was that there was a lot of civil wars taking place within this kingdom, this divided kingdom. Constantine had to go into a lot of civil wars because there was a lot of rebellions taking place, and also they had problems with the Gothic War, which also weakened the western part of this empire as well. And we'll just read here that the Gothic War of 376 to 382 AD severely weakened the Western Empire. At the Battle of Adrianople in 378 AD, the Eastern Emperor Valens was defeated by the Goths, and this marked the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire. So again, we just have lots of problems there, and so it makes sense for it to be partly broken and to be partly strong by using the two emperors. Now, we're just going to